The holidays are coming. Find a gift for someone special with jewelry from Blue Nile. Right now, Blue Nile is offering special Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. Save up to 50% on the season's most stunning trends. Blue Nile offers an endless selection of bold gold styles, gemstone jewelry, and classic diamond pieces. And now, for a limited time, get 36 months special financing on minimum purchases of $1,000. Restrictions apply. See BlueNile.com for details. That's BlueNile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic, a 2-in-1 probiotic and prebiotic formulated with 24 clinically and scientifically studied strains to support healthy regularity and your gut, immune, and skin health. Optimize your gut health. Visit seed.com/Spotify with code Spotify for 30% off your first month of Seed's DSO1 Daily Symbiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
Hello and welcome to a new podcast, The Paddock and the Pavilion with Stephen Wallace. In each show, Stephen will interview someone connected to the world of horse racing or cricket.
Hello everyone. With the Ashes just over a month away, my guest today is former England pace bowler Alex Tudor, who took 4 for 89 on his Test debut at the WACA in 1998. Thanks for joining me, Alex.
No, thanks for having me, Stephen. Pleasure.
Well, how does the mention of those figures bring back memories of that debut in November 1998?
Yeah, great memories, very nervous time. I remember the night before, Alex Stewart couldn't quite make up his mind. It was between me and Dean Headley. Dean Headley being a senior bowler, he wanted to know so he could prepare himself, but Alex said he needed to sleep on it. And then I had the worst night's sleep. Obviously, I was 21. I was meant to be out there for work experience and learning off, Gough, Cork, and Mullally and the likes, with all that experience. Dean Headley, Angus Fraser was there, and all of a sudden I'm playing with guys that I grew up watching on the TV. I'm playing in a Test match with them. I'm playing against arguably some of the greatest players ever to play the game, and it was a sort of pinch yourself moment, even though at some stage I knew that's what I wanted to do and play international cricket. It came obviously a lot sooner than I thought, but nevertheless, it was at Perth, world's quickest wicket, nice and bouncy. And then Alec gave me the nod in the morning. And then to ease into it, I think we won the toss and batted, which was most probably the wrong decision. We were out not too long after lunch. I think I got 18 not out, which sort of settled my nerves. And then not too long after the new ball, Alec introduced me. I remember bowling my first over to Mark Taylor. So that was something in itself, and just the bounce of the wicket and everything. I'd not seen anything like it. Every young boy's dream to play at Perth. But then I remember going for a walk before that Test match with Sir Ian Botham. He wasn't Sir then, and we went for a walk. There was sort of talk that I might play at Perth, obviously. And we went for this great walk in the morning in Brisbane. I was over the moon. He walked so fast, I was nearly like running. I think we met at 4:30, 5 in the morning.
He was probably still doing his walks then, wasn't he? Probably still doing his walks. He was still preparing and walking, and it was actually the best time to walk. It was nice and cool. And we just had a great talk. It was a really, really good talk. And, for one of the greats of the game to give up their time to talk to me, tell me what it's all about. When you play at this ground, don't get carried away with the bounce, bowl it full and all that. I was blown away with it all. So those memories will stay for me forever. And do you remember your first Test wicket? Obviously.
Yeah, Steve Waugh. yeah, Steve
Good
Waugh.
Start.
I think. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, listen, I grew up him being a menace to England, scoring 100 upon 100. And I remember Alex giving me the ball. It weren't quite working out for Corky, so he wanted a bit of a change. He gave me the ball. And I just remember him jumping around about in the crease. I thought, obviously, as a young bowler, he wanted to get on top of me. But the lad said, no, he's not fancying it. And I'm like, Steve Ward not fancying it. He's faced quicker bowlers than me. I felt he just wanted to try and get on top of me as I was a young guy. And one just nipped back and bowled him through the gate. And it's just one of the moments that you've bowled an absolute great at the game. Obviously, at that time, to get him when we did was great because he didn't get 100. And it sort of set me on my way.
And you also got Mark Waugh and Ricky Ponting and Glenn McGrath.
Yeah, it's not a bad three, that is it. I mean, no disrespect to Glenn, he's not known for his batting. I mean, he's a great of the game, but not for his batting. But the first three, I mean, geez, I mean, I grew up watching Mark Waugh, loved the way he batted, the elegance, just the ease, the poise. So to get him and his twin brother, and then obviously Ricky Ponting turned into an absolute one of the greatest batsmen of all time in the game. So to get him was great. Then as you said, Glenn McGrath was my fourth wicket. So just a very elated young man at 21 from South London, playing in the Ashes at Perth with some of England's greatest ever players against some of the greatest players that ever played a game on the other side. Was like dream come true.
Well, we lost by 7 wickets, but apart from that, it must have been a dream come true for you, though.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was personally. Obviously, it would have been nice to get those wickets. I think I got Justin Langer in the second innings, and we ended up losing, as you said, by 7 wickets. I think the game was over in 2.5 days. It was England lost again, but for a young man making his debut, it wasn't a bad start altogether. And sort of remember Alec and people around me, Darren Goff and stuff, don't get carried away with it and just stay humble, keep working hard, and good things will happen.
Well, I'd like to take you back now to your beginnings of your cricketing career. What's your first cricketing memory?
Oh, geez, just playing with my brother and my dad.
Your brother was a good player as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, very good player. Signed at Surrey, I think maybe 92 or something. But sadly, in his first year, he had a double stress fracture, so that curtailed his career early on. But still played a lot of cricket, club cricket and stuff, and played at a good standard and did really well. But it's just fortunate because he was very good. I always say he was a better bowler than me, far better fielder than me. He was unbelievable catch, caught absolute pigeons, and he was a hard hitting batsman. So I just remember, he's 5 years older than me, so I just go around my dad and him, watch him play with young kids and stuff. But then when it sort of got serious, I was watching him. He was training at Lord's, and a coach approached my dad. I remember on the balcony, just came over to my dad and said, "Look, does your boy play?" My dad said, "Yeah, my boy can play." Then I went for a trial. And then, as you say, the rest was history. Ended up playing for London schools from 8 to 16. Then had some great times, great memories, played against some great players that went on to do some great things in the game. I first bumped into Freddie Flintoff when I was 8. We played in a festival called the Dartford Festival. And we played against Lancashire. They would come down. Northamptonshire had the Swan brothers, Mark Steele, Tim Roberts, players like that. So we all sort of played in this tournament, Sussex, Kent, Essex, and we all played in this tournament. And we was there for a week. And then at the end of the week, you'd play, it used to be North, East, South. Then that used to be a little bit unfair because the North used to absolutely hammer us. And then we did a combination. They just sort of picked teams. And I remember Freddie was captain in our last year. Freddie was captain of the side. And we actually played as batsmen. We were picked in that tournament for batsmen because we scored a lot of runs. And we didn't really bowl, which I suppose a lot of people wouldn't believe, but that's what it was. And I remember I got 89 in that final and got man of the match. And, our sort of friendship and our cricketing past just coincide all the way through. We played Young England together. He was my under-19 captain. And then we played England together. So, that was nice that someone that you grew up playing with, and then your paths all went through together. David Sells, Ben Hollyoake, we all sort of went through. Gareth Batty, we all went through together. So that was nice. We had a great bunch of lads in our age group that pretty much a lot of us went on to make it.
Yeah, talking about Freddie Flintoff, I noticed that your second 11 championship debut, he was your first victim as well.
Oh gosh, I don't remember.
I looked it up. He definitely was. So.
Oh geez, I mean, listen, Lancashire were a serious side, and they had some good players. And Freddie and I, through the years, had some great battles. I mean, Jesus, he ended up hitting me for 38 in a championship game.
I wasn't going to mention that.
And that's okay. Kids mention it all the time to me at school, so it's cool. I'm good with it. And I remember he got a big 100 in a one-day game at the Oval. Took us to the cleaners. But we've had some tussles and some battles, and he always says he reckons that I'm up because I've got him out a few times in championship cricket and stuff like that. Well, we've had some great tussles, and he's a good friend, still a very good friend, and just feel blessed. And in that era that we played, as I said, we had some good cricketers. Awais Shah, David Nash, Stephen Peters, Paul Franks, Ryan Sidebottom. I mean, the list, as I said, Gareth Batty, Ben Hollyoake. I mean, the list was frightening of people of my age that we went through, and we all sort of went through and played first-class cricket, and some of us obviously went on to play for England. But it was a good time growing up around those times.
Well, talking about first-class cricket, you made your debut for Surrey against Middlesex in 1995. Looking through the scores that day, it was a pretty tough baptism of your first game.
Oh, it was ridiculous. So one of my best friends, Mark Ramprakash, he got a double 100. Him and Keith Brown, the keeper, he got 100. They put on millions, and he actually, I think my third wicket. So my first wicket was either Jason Pooley or Paul Weeks. I can't remember which one. I saw Jace not too long ago, actually. So I think it was Jason Pooley, then Weeksy, and then Ramps clipped one to Nadeem Shahid when he was 200 and plenty. I think he felt sorry for me. So I ended up getting free for on debut. And then I remember going off, and bless him, my coach at the time, Graham Dilley, bowling coach, was great for me. And he just told me, have a little relax and settle down. Well, I couldn't, because Tufnell and Embry went through us. And they taught us about spin. And they ended up thrashing us, I think maybe by an innings or something. I think they ended up beating us.
Innings defeat, but you were playing at the home of cricket, so it's a good place to start your first-class career.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Didn't go the way I wanted to. Got a few wickets, got a batter in, but it was like, this is proper cricket. I've come from age group cricket, playing some hard second-team cricket, but nothing like when you're playing against the likes of, as I said, your Ramprakash and Gattings and those types. Fraser was playing, as you said, Embry, Tufnell. That's it's John Carr, I think he may have played. It was like, it's this proper cricket. So it was just nice to sort of mix it and do okay. But as I said, again, as a team, we got hammered.
Well, moving forward a bit, 1998, you got 29 first-class wickets, and then you were selected for the England series in Australia, which we've talked about. Were you surprised to get selected?
Yes, yes. And Caddy and I have a little bit of a joke. Andrew Caddick got 100 odd wickets that calendar year, or that county championship year, and he didn't get selected. And he said, Tudor, you took my place. I said, no. I didn't take your place. I was the young lad. England at that time used to take a young seamer on tour, just, someone that they felt was sort of going to be ready maybe in a few years or so. And I went, and it was just unbelievable. I had my 21st birthday on the plane. Wayne Morton, he brought out a cake and everything. It was unbelievable. And then, as you say, the personnel that I had on the plane, you go through the team, Hick and Atherton and Hussain, Butcher, Ramprakash, and then Goff and Fraser and all these. And it was as again, pinch yourself moment. And I was there mixing it with the elite. And it was a bit of a surprise, but I was going to get my head down and take the opportunity.
Well, you only actually played 10 test matches, a lot because of the injuries you suffered, but you got 28 wickets in those 10 test matches. But you some highs in those Test matches, with the 99 not out as the night watchman, which I think is still the highest score by a night watchman for England. Jack Leach, I think, got close to it the other year.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Although he was only playing against Ireland.
We don't mention that.
you were against New Zealand at Edgbaston. Can you tell listeners about those 2 days when you just failed to make a century?
Yeah, it was, again, England had been rubbish in the World Cup. We got beat up by India, and David Lloyd, the great David Lloyd, he was coach. He got sacked, and Alex Tudor was captain. He got sacked. It was Nasser Hussein's first game as captain. Aftab Habib came in for debut. Chris Reed came in for debut. And there was myself. You sort of drafted into the side, and it was these sort of young guns with some senior players. New Zealand had got to the semi-final in that World Cup, so they were prime. They were playing some good cricket. Jeff Allott had got 20 odd wickets in that World Cup. So and he was bowling fast, and Dion Nash and Chris Cairns, Simon Doull, and a young Daniel Fattori. So it's a proper bowling lineup. And again, that game didn't last too long, 2.5 days. All I remember is, Paddock, Mullally and Tufnell bowled well. And then on the second innings, they batted first. We bowled them out. We batted, didn't get many. I went in, I think at 8 or so, got 30 odd not out. So when it came to the second innings, we were chasing, we needed a night watchman. I just remember Nasser Hussain walking into the change room and going, we need a night watchman, who's going to do it? And as he was sort of looking around the room, he was like, well, Tufnell, no. Goff, no. Oh, Tudor, you got some. Get your pads on. And I just remember something that my dad always told me when I was young. He said, son, especially when I got into first class cricket, son, show these people that you can bat. If you get the opportunity, you take it. So I was like, yeah, I'll go on back. And Alec got cleaned up first over, second over or so. So I had to go and face a delivery. And then we came off a bad light. And then the next morning, Ramps, my good friend, he has his routine. We got to the ground early. We did our throwdowns, intense throwdowns, stuff like that. And Gucci gave one of his speeches and just said, lad, the wicket's not great, but if you get the opportunity, swing the kitchen sink it in and stuff. And I just had one of those days that every young guy sort of dreams for, and everything was hitting the middle of the bat. They gave me width. And I think I put on a little bit of a partnership with my friend Mark Butcher to start off with, and then Nasser came in. He was batting lovely. He got 40 very quickly. And then as it was starting to whittle down, Graham Thorpe walks in. I think I'm 70 odd at the time. Thorpe walks in. Crowd's going mad. Holly Stan's going nuts. He walks, he said, Tudes, this is what it's about. Crowd shouting your name, Saturday afternoon. And I was like, yeah. I said, Thorpe, right, listen, forget about that. Get your head on. We've got Ramps, who didn't get none in the first innings. Aftab Habib's on debut, didn't get any. Chris Reed's on debut, didn't get any. And we've got a long tail, so we need to get this game done. And he was like, all right. And he just sort of went into Graham Thorpe mode and started blitzing it everywhere. And as I'm looking at the board and crowd starting to boo, and I'm like, why are they booing? England are winning. Why are they booing? I'm thinking, they really want me to get this 100. And it literally came down where I needed to hit a 6 to try and get to my 100. And I top-edged it off Craig McMillan. Went over Adam Perori and a couple bounces for 4. I sort of casually stroll off 99 not out, get into the change room, and there's euphoria. Obviously, the lads are over the moon for me. But then also there's some cursing because I'm left on 99. And Tufnell and Butcher and the likes are not best pleased with Graham Thorpe, and can't really say what they were saying, but they weren't happy. There were some choice words, and then sort of Thorpe was like, yeah, but Tudes told me to get on with it. And they're like, he's 21. He's playing in his 3rd game. What are you doing? And it's just one of those things. And I said, look, as time's gone on, and it's 20 odd years on, and I'm still speaking about it, people still want to know about it. I suppose I'm better known for it, and it's just one of those things. It wasn't meant to be, but I always tell people I was 120, 31 not out for the Test match. And it was a good day. As I said, England won. We won in 2.5 days. Nasser's first game as captain. So good memories.
Well, thanks for that. That was very interesting. Thanks for that. You must have told that story many times, but you did have some good highs there, because you had a 5 against the Australians at Trent Bridge. That must have been, something special to get 5 wickets against them.
Yeah, no, unbelievable again. And it was in the balance, the series a little bit, up into that game. And when I got that 5, we were still in the game. We were in the game. I remember Nasser had busted his finger. So Affers took over as captain, and he was brilliant. Phenomenal, looked after me really well. And, I've got these 5 wickets again. The calibre of the players I got, I was well over the moon with. And, I remember walking in, Nasser's buzzing and he's going, come on, lads. And then, unfortunately, Jason Gillespie sorted us out and got a 5. And then they were only chasing 130 odd, and we ended up losing that game by 7 wickets. But I got a 5, and I'm up on the board, 5 for 44. My mum, my dad, and my brother were there. It was, it was a good time. I think it was a Saturday again. I think.
You always go for the big days, you see.
Always go for the big day, man. And it was like, we're still in this series, but then they blew us away there, and literally, I think after that we went to Headingley, and then Mark Butcher scored that magnificent 173 to win us that game. But I think we ended up losing the series 3-1, was it, or 4-1? No, 4-1, because I think they were looking to beat us 5-0 or something, weren't they? So
they're always looking to beat us 5-0, aren't they? So,
once or twice, yeah. So that's what happened. But yeah, I had a good game against them. I remember getting man of the match against Sri Lanka at Old Trafford, getting 7 in the game, and then we needed something like 50 odd off 6 overs, and Trez and Varney went in there and slapped it everywhere. I think Fernando was trying to get wickets when he should have been bowling other deliveries, because there was only 6 overs to go, but he was trying to get a few wickets, and Trez and Varney slapped him everywhere, and we ended up winning that game, and I got man of the match. So I said, in my short career, in those 10 games, 2 man of the matches, done some decent things. And then it was only really in the back end against Australia, and then a very, very good India batting lineup, that it sort of ruined my figures a bit. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, that Sri Lanka test was in 2002, and then in November 2002, you played your last test in Perth. You started in Perth and ended in Perth.
Yeah, not too many people have done that.
No, it ended in quite a dramatic fashion for you when you got hit on the head by Brett Lee. And it's an understatement of the year to ask you how you felt at the time, but how did you feel when you suffered that injury? I was there, and you could hear in the crowd that people were actually worried about you as a person.
Oh, bless them. I mean, listen, it was funny because when Australia batted, obviously we had Harmy, he was bowling quick. I remember he bowled quick, but he had lost his run-up. And he was still getting it down there at 90 mile an hour. And I remember Brett came in, and we had got on well during the series. We'd gone out afterwards and drink and stuff, and met up a few times. And he came in, and Nasser's like, "Dude, you got to rough him up." I'm like, "All right, okay, cool." Captain's asked me to do something, I'm doing it. So, I touched him up a little bit, but I'm only bowling at sort of mid-80s, 87, 85, something around there. He's about 10 mile an hour quicker. So when it's role reversed now, and I walk in, Alex Stewart's in, he's batting really well, Stewie, and Brett's steaming in with this older ball, and he's bowling quick. And as I've walked in, Brett's like, "Tudes, I owe you a few." And I'm like, I'm a South London boy. I was like, "Bring it." I'm not scared of anything. And then Glenn McGrath's at sort of cover walking around. He goes, "Tudes, he's bowling quick." I said, "Yeah, he's on your side, isn't he?" And then Darren Lehman's at short leg. "Tudes, he's bowling quick." And I said, "Yeah, no, I've been watching." And he bowls these thunderbolts, and I sort of duck under a few and stuff. And then it's like new ball time. Stewie walks down and says, "Stu, just get underneath it." I said, "Yeah, I've not got your ability. I'm not going to be taking him on. I'm going to duck." But the only thing with the new ball, with it being rock hard, it skidded on. It didn't bounce. So when I saw him pitch it in halfway down, I went down, But then this thing didn't get up, and it just followed me. And I did the worst thing that I tell all the young cricketers that I coach now not to do: keep your eye on the ball. I took my eye off the ball and got cleaned up. And when I got hit, I did worry, because when I put my hand over my eye, I just saw a lot of blood. And I was actually thinking, as I take my hand away, I'm going to see my eyeball. I was that worried. It hit me extremely hard. Then I just had a bit of a panic. And then Darren Lehman was great. Stewie came down. Then I remember Mark Butcher steaming out, just running out to make sure I was okay. And first thing I remember I said to him, I said, I know my mum is watching. Please phone her, because my mum's a worrier. She'll be vomiting and all sorts. She'll be panicking. So I said, just phone her until I'm all right. So Butch did that, bless him. And then I just remember walking off, and sort of the crowd giving me a bit of a cheer and stuff like that. And as I said, as I was going up the stairs, Steve Harmison walks in, and Harmy's obviously a good friend as well, and he's obviously worried about me, but obviously thinking Brett Lee's bowling extremely quick. And then there was this massive boos that just went out, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And someone said, oh, he's just bowled Harmy a beamer. I went, oh, damn. I said, well, he ain't getting in line with the next one. And I think he bowled him a fast Yorker. Harmy was on square legs toes, I think, or something. He was out of there. And then the game was done. But it was just a sad way of sort of bowing out of international cricket. I remember I had to stay in hospital overnight. And I remember I had my own room, and the nurse sort of, have you seen it? And I'm like, seen what? And she goes, oh, it's on loop on the news, like the news every half hour, and put it on. And I was like, oh, great, thanks. And then the next morning, Brian Murgatroyd, who was the press officer, he was a brilliant guy, sort of said, Tudes, I've got some bad news. You've got to do the world's press, and they're all out here waiting for you. I was like, why do they care about me? But I think obviously the worry of how I went down and stuff like that, they just wanted to make sure I was okay. So
must have been like a boxer. You must have been like a boxer when you
I came out looking like Elephant Man, talking to the press, saying all is good. And I remember literally after about a week, my good friend Alex Tudor was like, right, Tudes, got to jump back on the horse. And he was throwing balls at my head about a week later. I mean, my eye was still not fully open, but he's like, the longer you leave it, the more it's going to affect you and impact you in your career moving on. So he says, look, you just got to get on with it. So it was, dodging cricket balls at my head while he was throwing them at me. So I look back and thank him for that, because I didn't worry about the short ball after getting hit. I never really used to worry about it. And I thank him for, him getting me back on the horse early doors. And it's just a shame that my career never got back internationally after that. But England had a crop of young bowlers sort of waiting in the wings and coming through. And as you said, after Michael Vaughan took the reins, he had Simon Jones, Hoggard, Flintoff, Harmison,
heading towards 2005 then, aren't we?
Who were heading for that 2004 when it went unbeaten, and then that led up to 2005.
Now, county-wise, though, you had a very successful time at Surrey. They won in the county championship in 99, 2000 and 2002. What made that side such a good side? Obviously, very good players.
Well, we were a good side prior to Mark Ramprakash come in 2001. I think he came to us from Middlesex. But the real golden child really was Saqlain Mushtaq. Saqlain Mushtaq turned us from a good side to a great side. His signature at the Oval was it was like a Lionel Messi signing. He was that good. We had seen him play for Pakistan as a young boy, tearing it up in one-day cricket, getting wickets from wickets. So for us to get him when we did was phenomenal. And then with Adam Hollyoake as captain, a great leader, great guy, with the likes of, you put Mark Ramprakash in that team and then, Ian Salisbury and Saqlain Mushtaq, Martin Bicknell, myself, Azam Mahmood, Ben. I mean, it's, that's a proper side that sort of covers all areas on any wicket. So people didn't quite know what wicket to prepare for us when we came. and we bullied size, really. It was a great team to be a part of. We had a lot of success. It was great to learn off those experienced players. We were, a little bit flamboyant, I would say, the Surrey Strutters, they used to call us, but we used to back it up with performances. There's no point sort of giving it and sort of strutting around as people thought we did, but we were able to back it up when we got onto that grass. And as I said, it was a great time to play in that team with Keith Medlicott as coach. We had some great memories that will live on for that squad forever.
Changing tack a bit, since 2005, only 4 black cricketers have played men's Test cricket for England. What do you think the reasons for that have been?
Wow, okay. There could be a catalogue of things. And there's been stuff that's been on recently and stuff. And I just said the whole thing with it, you could say, people used to blame the decline of the West Indies. That's what if you're talking about the 70s and 80s when we were young boys watching that's what we wanted to reach.
You had role models, didn't you? You had role models.
You had people that looked like us dominating world cricket. That's what you wanted to do. Back then, stuff was on terrestrial TV, so you could put on the BBC and you would see county cricket and you would see the cup games and stuff like that. And every county had at least, 3-4 players. And I just think the decline is, and Mark Butcher makes a great point. As far as you get away from the Windrush times, generation of kids, that's not their bag. Football and even rugby union now and stuff. There's other avenues, and their parents are not diehard cricket fans. So that would be my reasoning for why you don't see as many. And then obviously, if the kids don't see, people playing on the box, then kids want to do what they can see. And if not everyone can watch the cricket, then they're thinking it's a bit of a closed shop. And then you look at the England side, they're thinking, well, can they familiarise themselves with any of them? No, not really. Apart from if you see Jofra and CJ, obviously Mo Ali and Rash, the Asian community as well. So, it's been a difficult time, but there's not that many playing county cricket. Was there only seven black players playing at this time, if that? So it's hard. I know Ebony, good friend of mine, Ebony Ravenford-Brent, is doing some good things with the ACE program and stuff like that, just to try and, because there are kids out there. I can guarantee you there are kids out there, but it's all about opportunity. It's all about being seen and, taking the opportunity when it arises.
Yeah, I think you're doing some work with the ACE program, aren't you? Because I've had Ebony on this podcast, and
brilliant!
It's clearly making some progress, isn't it? And she's moving around the country, which is important, to other city areas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she's Birmingham, Bristol. She's trying to get somewhere else. But yeah, it's been brilliant. It's been brilliant. And I think it's young Barnard who sort of broke into the England under 19 side. So, it's working. It's doing well. Didn't expect one to come through as quick as that, but young Nathan has come through, has shown promise. I think he signed a summer contract at Surrey now as well. So there's, the signs are good, and you don't want everyone. It'd be nice if everyone did, but if you get one or two breaking through and making it when they normally wouldn't have been seen or been given that opportunity, then it's all worthwhile.
Well, hopefully the progress will continue, and it's not just a passing phase. But I'm sure if Ebony's behind it, it won't be, and there'll be more and more black cricketers that will play cricket for England.
Yeah. Let's hope so. We just want as many people to try and play this great game, given the opportunities. Getting in these schools that maybe don't have a field, and I'm talking about the inner city schools now and stuff where there's not a lot of land for them to go and play and stuff like that. So it's just, you need the right teachers. You need enthusiastic teachers that are going to give their time, try and infuse these kids As I said, kids will do pretty much anything that they can see. Even if their cricket's not on their radar, all of a sudden if they start playing it and they enjoy it, you might unearth a couple. But they need that opportunity. So hopefully with there's enough organisations, there's enough charities looking to do some stuff. As you said, there's a lot of money in the game. As long as it filters down, gets through to that grassroots, that's where it matters. I think sometimes we think about the top end too much. If we want to keep this great game going, can't forget about our youth. And we need to make sure that the money's getting down there. But also with that, got to make sure you've got the right coaches that are infusing these kids and bringing them through.
Yeah, and that's boys and girls as well.
Oh, massively. Girls, I've gone back to school, since the summer break, and the girls are hounding all the time. We do after school cricket on a Friday. They're coming in their numbers. They actually love it. They come to cricket training there, and then they're, "Sir, can I leave early? I've got to go to nets at my club." That's just music to my ears. And the one thing with the girls that I've learned, especially, coaching them, man, they listen. They just sponges. They want to learn. They've been infused by watching the girls on the TV, the 100. Speaking to a lot of them. A lot of them were able to get out to these grounds, Lords, the Oval, Edgbaston, Trent Bridge, watching these games because the prices were good. So you can make a really family event with it. They can see 2 games, girls and boys, and they absolutely loved it. So, we got to strike while the iron's hot. These girls are really good, showing really good technique, and they've got some great role models at the top to aspire to.
I certainly have. I must pick up one point there because I want to get someone's name on the show now, because James Williams at Cambridgeshire, who I know, James, from Wisbeach, he always says that girls listen more than boys. So
massively. You tell a girl, pick your bat up, I guarantee for the rest of her net, you are not telling that again. You have a net with a lad, you are telling him pretty much every other ball, if not every ball. They're just sponges. They just listen. There's no ego, and they just get on with it. And I just think technically, they're just as good. Obviously, once they start to get a little bit bigger, the strength and stuff, and that's where the boys sort of take over. But technically, so batting technique, fielding, they catch pigeons, man. They catch pigeons. They got good technique. It's, the girls' game is flourishing. And it's great to see. It's only going to get bigger and bigger. The 100's only going to get bigger and bigger for them. Hopefully more franchise cricket. And you get to see the world's best stars come over and play. And I can only see women's cricket just growing.
Well, I certainly agree there. The 100 made a big boost to the women's game. And technically watching them bat, superb. Now, we started with the Ashes. Now we're going to finish with the Ashes. What do you think are England's prospects down under?
A lot is riding on Joe Root to score runs. We need some other individuals to help out. Your Rory Burns, your Zach Crawleys and these guys. I know the averages are not too flash at the moment, but if someone has a breakout series in Australia, that will look after you for the rest of your life. On the bowling front, worries me a little bit. I just don't know how we're going to get 20 wickets. Listen, Australia's batting lineup as well is not that great. And obviously, you've got Labuschagne, Warner, Smith, who are their marquee batsmen. But the rest of them, you're not losing any sleep with them. So if, Brody and Anderson and Woakes and that can get some early wickets and we can get into that lower to middle order, then we could have an interesting series. But I just, we have to do with seam. I can't see spin with the guys we've got. Jack Leach, bless him, he's not played a lot of cricket. Dom Bess is quite fresh and, sort of rego off spin doesn't really clean up out there. You need to have a little bit of mystery and do something else. And they're always going to try and attack our spinners so our seamers don't get much rest. So can someone, like Graham Swan used to do, first innings, he'll hold up an end. He wouldn't go for many. He could hold up and then bowl for one and give our seamers some rest. I just don't see these two doing that. I hope they prove me wrong, but I can't see it. And obviously for the balance of the side, the way they go, obviously Stokes not being there Archer not being there. I mean, we're going to have to look after Woody. He's not going to be able to play 5 Test matches. So it's, looking after his workload, make sure the wickets are helpful for him that when we play him. But hopefully it will be a very good series. I think we'll get beat. I hope the boys prove everyone wrong, and they have a breakout series and dominate. It'll be great.
So do you think the Australians are under a little bit of pressure because they haven't played that much cricket, have they?
No, they haven't. But they're generally good at home. They're used to their wickets. They'll have a buoyant crowd behind them, but I know, I'm not too sure how much of the army will get out there and stuff and what will be happening on that front. But, we'll be watching and supporting. And as you say, hopefully the boys and, Joe Root has a Alistair Cook series and gets 700 runs. And we need a few others to at least get 400, if not that amount of runs. Butler, someone, we need someone to have 400 odd runs as well. We need a couple. We can't just have someone have a 500 plus run series and no one else is doing anything. We need three guys to get some runs, some good runs, and then which allows your bowlers to go to work and get wickets. But if you're not getting 300 in your first innings, you're struggling.
Well, thank you for that. One thing we haven't mentioned before we go is, and I know myself, but what are you actually doing now?
Oh, so I, for the last 6 years, I work at Kimbolton School, which is here in Cambridge, where I now live, and absolutely love it. Started off just doing cricket, but I help with the football and hockey. So I just love it. And it's just, it's coaching kids. That's what I'm about. I just love getting out there and helping these young kids getting out there and playing some sport. We all need it. We've had a hard 18 months. Some have not done much. So getting those kids back out there and getting them active will actually help them in the classroom. I always tell them the fitter you are, the longer you can concentrate and that type of thing. So it's just talking to these kids really on a daily basis and making sure they're good people and the way they carry themselves and respect and manners and same sort of things that my dad instilled in me and my older brother. That's why I try and preach to these kids, try and be real to them, and just have some fun. And that's what I'm about. So I enjoy what I do. And I think they enjoy having me around. So I'm slightly different than the normal teacher. And we have some fun.
Well, I'm sure they must like being taught by you. You sound very enthusiastic. Thank you very much for joining me on the Paddock and the Pavilion. I must also shout out thanks to Denise O'Neill, who, like your brother, works for Capital Kids Cricket. Denise was on, wrote down here, episode 37 of the podcast. And it was Denise who asked Ray to then ask you to come on. So thanks to both of them for doing me a favour.
No, pleasure. They do a great job. They do an absolute great job. Really proud of my brother and Denise. They do some great work, especially in the hospitals with those kids. It's not easy, but they do it, and they've done it for a long time. So it was my pleasure. No, but thanks for having me. I've enjoyed doing it, and I wish you all the success moving forward with it.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you for listening to The Paddock and the Pavilion. You can download the show on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher and Spotify. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at The Pad and Pav.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.